From The Australian, here's what's on the front. I'm Claire Harvey. It's Thursday, November 6, 2025. Mining bosses want Indigenous Australians to grow their prosperity by claiming ownership of mines, petroleum leases, processing facilities and infrastructure. It's no longer enough to brag about Aboriginal companies winning contracts. They need to be focusing on ownership, says the Minerals Council of Australia. The worst he's ever seen. That's the assessment of Wednesday's Question Time by our national editor, Dennis Shanahan. He's been covering politics for decades and says he's never seen a federal opposition behave quite like this.
People who have been around Parliament almost as long as I have are saying the same thing. This is a diabolical situation.
You can read Dennis's full scathing assessment right now at theaustralian.com.au. An ultra-charismatic, self-proclaimed social democrat has just been elected Mayor of New York and made himself a seriously formidable enemy in Donald J. Trump, the ultimate New Yorker. Zohran Mamdani is just 34 and he's been elected on a sweeping set of promises to control rent, make childcare free and overhaul public transport. Is he the future of the Democrats or a false dawn? That's today's episode.
It is an historic night right here at Zohran Mamdani headquarters. New York City has just elected its first Muslim, first Indian American mayor.
He came from near obscurity, soared to the top of the list in the primary.
We have seen a record turnout in this election here in New York.
There you have it. The news has reached the crowd. Zohran Mamdani has been named the mayor-elect.
Cameron Stewart is The Australian's chief international correspondent. He's also an honorary New Yorker, having spent many years living in the Big Apple. Cam, New Yorkers have elected a new mayor who's causing a lot of concern and a lot of celebration, depending on your perspective. What's your take on who Zohran Mamdani is?
He's an extraordinary character, Claire. He has emerged from pretty much nowhere. He's only been in the New York State Parliament for about 2 years. He hasn't got any real management experience at all. He's a Muslim. He's 34 years old, extremely young for a mayor. He's got a few controversies that swirl around him. For example, he's described Israel as a genocidal state in its war in Gaza, which is pretty remarkable given that New York City has the largest Jewish population of any American city. He's really come from nowhere to storm and take the job as mayor of New York City, which is a very huge job in America. It's the biggest, most unwieldy, unmanageable city you could ever imagine. And here's this guy at 34 years of age who suddenly finds himself on the throne. And it's a huge moment for a couple of reasons, because he basically is very left-wing. He calls himself a democratic socialist. That's very unusual for anyone in American politics to happily call themselves a democratic socialist. He's got a very left-wing agenda. His whole concept when he sold himself to the voters of New York City was to try and cut the cost of living in New York and to appeal to immigrants, taxi drivers, Uber delivery people, et cetera, that whole sort of, if you like, underclass of New York City who he felt were not getting a fair go. And so he tailored all his policies very much towards them. We had free buses, we've got rental freezes, 200,000 new units being set up. We've got a whole raft of things that he has done very much for the working man, and he's going to pay for that by taxing corporates more highly and also people who earn over $1 million. So increased taxation, higher spending, all aimed at the working man, and this really resonated in New York City.
It's not just those people who have voted for him. Of course, you can't get 50% of the vote with just the workers. Many of the New Yorkers who would have voted for Mamdani are people who someone like Donald Trump, although he's also from New York City, would describe as elites. You know, they are wealthy, highly educated people who live in this city that often doesn't really feel like part of the rest of America. What do you think is appealing about Mamdani to those voters who might themselves be very well off?
That's a good question. I mean, New York City has really been hit hard by the inflation rises of recent years. It is an expensive place to live. There's a lot of problems in New York City at the moment. There's a fair bit of crime. Perhaps they see a more radical approach to this as the way to go. I mean, there really wasn't many other alternatives for the voters. The main opponent for Mamdani was Andrew Cuomo. He, of course, used to be the governor of New York State until 4 years ago. He had to resign in disgrace over sexual harassment allegations. He then went up against Mandani in the Democratic primary, lost it comprehensively, and then ran as a third-party candidate. Now, look, he's 67 years old, and I think voters just looked and they just thought, we're just sick of the same tired old Democrat stuff. Here's this new fresh-faced guy. Let's give him a go. And the thing about Mamdani, Claire, is he's got a very, almost like a Barack Obama ability to campaign.
What's going on, everybody? It's Zohran Mamdani. It's Knicks playoff season out here. Let's see what New Yorkers are thinking right now.
Freeze the rent!
We're outside because New Yorkers deserve a mayor that they can see, they can hear, they can even yell at.
He's folksy, he's articulate, he's media friendly, he's got a very savvy social media campaign.
I'm about to say something to you you've never heard a politician say. Please stop sending us money.
And this army of young voters just flocked to him.
I call all my African people to vote for
Thank you, my brother.
Because I know with you, New York City will change.
Thank you, my brother.
I support you.
His real superpower is the ability to attract young voters to his cause.
The appeal of Mamdani probably depends on how old you are. A lot of, as you say, young New Yorkers really like him, whereas perhaps their parents might not. And that's also the same in Jewish families, Cam. Surveys have shown that young Jewish voters are much more likely to be open to Mamdani than their parents are. He's made some pretty staunch statements about Israel. He's been a long campaigner against Israel. He, at university, led a Palestinian support group and has long supported the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement against Israel. He's said that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested. How do you think Jewish New Yorkers grapple with this question of whether or not he is anti-Semitic?
I think the Jewish community in New York is quite divided. On the one hand, we have younger, more liberal Jewish voters who, according to polls, have been quite supportive of Mandani. They are also unhappy with the actions of the Israeli government, and they don't see that as a reason not to vote for him. However, older and more traditional Jewish voters, I think a lot of them appear to be horrified by the notion of having a mayor who effectively doesn't agree with the existence of the state of Israel. And this has played out in the broader politics, Claire, of the Democratic Party. I mean, you have the left-wing firebrands, if you like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders saying Mamdani is the best thing that's ever happened to the Democratic Party. Then you have the more traditional and more conservative Democrats who are wary of him. They worry that he might, if he succeeds, he's already succeeded in getting elected, but if he succeeds, especially in his mandate, that he will drag the Democratic Party further to the left. And you have some of the party elders, most particularly the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who is a Jewish New Yorker, and he's refused to endorse Mamdani throughout the entire campaign, which is really quite extraordinary. And it does show there is reluctance and reticence to back him strongly from the more conservative traditional Democrats.
Promising a rent freeze was the way he really grabbed international attention because, of course, everybody's watched TV shows about New York and what their apartments are like. Why is day-to-day life in New York so hard and so expensive? Why can't they grapple with the basic issues of, for example, sanitation? They've been fighting about how to get rid of New York's rats for centuries now.
Look, New York is an ecosystem to itself. I mean, it is so crowded that just naturally apartment prices are stratospheric. And, what happens is you see the poorer people get more marginalised. I mean, Harlem used to be a a very poor place. Now it's quite upmarket. The gentrification is moving out because the demand is so much in inner city Manhattan. But regularly you get governments that just cannot cope with this incredible mass of people and the services required. I mean, how often have we seen huge garbage strikes in New York? It's a very unionized Democrat place as well. So, when there are strikes, they're very effective because they've got very strong unions. And look, it's a very tough place to manage. And I mean, it really goes in waves. And Mamdani has basically tapped into a wave that people believe he can actually improve the city from where it is now. And it's a story he's sold well to these voters. And so they've given their trust to him.
Coming up, Zohran versus Donald. Mamdani wouldn't be able to run for president of the United States because he was born overseas. So the Democrats still have the task of finding candidates for presidential elections who people actually want to vote for. Do you think his election gives a hint as to which way the Democrats might lean? Are they going to lean hard left next time they're looking at a candidate for the presidency, given the success of Mamdani?
Left-wing Democrats will be hoping that his election is an example of where the party should go. The Democrats are really caught in a civil war right now between the left-wingers, who support, obviously, Mamdani, and the Conservatives as to the direction of the party after Kamala Harris's defeat. It's a battle royal between them to see which way they go. So, look, the left-wingers will be hoping that this is a sign that they're going to go left. I think there'll be a lot of resistance to that. I think that the lesson of the last election is that the Democrats need a centrist in the mould of Bill Clinton who can bring back and win back middle America. That's what they lost last time. And I think the conservative wing of the Democrat Party is very fearful that Mandani's victory and the left wing of the Democrats could drag the party to a place which it's really not electable from, because it's not really representing middle America. And that's what they're concerned about. So look, this could be a booby trap for the Democrats. Certainly Donald Trump thinks this could be a booby trap for the Democrats.
Zohran Mamdani, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the front
communist, not socialist, communist. He's far worse than a socialist.
Some people have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
He's already started his attack campaign, and he said he's threatened to not give federal funding, or at least withdraw a lot of federal funding to New York City as a result of his victory. He's said it's going to be a social and economic disaster. I mean, this is Trump in full flight. So it's going to be a spectacular battle between a young, new, but hugely popular New York mayor and Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Cameron Stewart is the Australian's chief international correspondent. You can read Cam's reporting and analysis right now at theaustralian.com.au.